Good afternoon, students. We are busy with design and technology. DT22. It is the contact class is for exams for August preparation. So let us start. Okay, the first one is the consequence. I want you to explain the consequences of conflict. Now here I don't want you to explain the words, I just want you to name. So you will see the first one you will explain is it must have unresolved conflicts. How can it lead to physical fights? Now I don't want you to explain, I just want you to name them. And then the second one is stirred emotions, hatred and anger. Now let me just talk a little about this. When you have anger and hatred among children, they will not get along with each other. So what you must do is you must sort out the anger. You must find out where the problem of the anger is coming from, where the problem of the hatred is coming from. Is it from a racial discrimination, or is it something else that is coming maybe from primary school already, or what it is for? And then you must try to curb this as much as possible, so that otherwise there will be physical fights and it can lead to dangerous things. So you as a teacher need to make sure that you are always well aware of what your children is what they are going through. So you must only know it for 6 marks. So the next one is the ways to prevent electrical shocks. Now here I want you to name them and to explain. So the first one is you as a teacher must teach the children how to be safety conscious. The second one is you must shut off the power. Now especially when you don't use electrical tools, you must always teach them shut off the power before you take it out of the socket or out of the plug. Then you must also test the circuits. So you must teach them all these things so that they know it's for their own safety, and it's also to protect the tools, and it's also to protect the building. So it is very important that you must teach them these things. The next one is how will you if you want your own business, what are the advantages and the disadvantages? Number 1, it says you are your own boss, which means if you are your own boss, what does that entail? It entails the following. You are going to be your own boss. The advantages are you will have your own schedule, you will make your own decisions, you will control your own success. You will spend money and you need to plow the profits back into your business. You must search on the internet for cheaper products if you are going to sell them. Or and then the last one is you must sell and advertise your product on the internet. So you don't have to just do it locally, but you can also put it on the internet. Now the disadvantages is you will have uncertain earnings. Now what does that mean? It means if you don't work hard enough, your earnings or your profit will be uncertain. That means your profit will not always be the same, or you will not see a growth in your profit. You will have to work long hours, and if you are working on your own, if you are your own boss and you do the work on your own, you will work very long hours, which means you will lose out on family time, and maybe you will also lose your family in the process. So you must be very careful. The next one is there is also that fear of losing profits. So because you are your own boss and you have your own business, you always have that fear. And if you are hiring people, then the problem is also that when your profits are not enough, you cannot even hire these people, or you will have to let them go because you cannot pay them. And the next one is you are unable to pay salaries if the economy is very bad, like it is now in the world and also in Namibia. So that is what the advantages and the disadvantages are all about. So you must know them very well. You just have to write short sentences. You don't have to write long sentences. The next one, sorry, the properties, that means the strength and the weaknesses. Now we get different properties, like for instance, I'm talking about now the natural materials, like wood or leather or oil, and also coal and iron. These are natural things that you cannot produce them. You take it out of the, like wood you can take from the trees. Leather, it comes from the animals. Oil, it comes from the ground. Coal comes from the ground. So these are natural things. That is why I said natural properties. Now let us see why, if you must look at the strengths of wood, wood is very useful to us because it's reasonably cheap. And the next one of wood is you can use the wood for furniture. When we think of people working in Okahanya, they are wood carvers, and also in the north, and they sell it. So and then also they make frames for doors. They make shelves or cupboards, and the trees that we plant now will take a long time in the forest. So if we take every tree that we take down, you need to put 2 or 3 trees you need to plant again. That is, and it takes a long time to grow. The weaknesses are, it will take a very long time to grow, and trees are also a home to different animals and insect life. So you must also consider the ecosystem. So, and here I want you, because there are so many, you must only explain 2 for me. If you explain wood and leather, then you must explain them, the strength and the weaknesses. If you take wood and coal, or wood and iron, or oil and leather, so you must only, there's a lot of them, so but I want you to only explain 2 of them because it's only for 10 marks. Now we get to the different kinds of energy. Here I want you to explain to me what you understand by energy. Now when we speak about energy, energy is when work is done, energy is transferred. Energy can either be destroyed or it can be created, but it can only be changed from one form to another. Now any kind of energy, even if you walk, you use energy because you are sweating. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you will have to do physical work for energy to be created. Then the next one is potential energy. Now the word potential refers to stored energy that can be used or changed when needed. Then potential energy is stored energy which is ready to go. Like a lawnmower, when you cut the grass, you will fill the lawnmower with gasoline or with petrol, and then when you move it, the lawnmower is going. Or when a car is going uphill, or when students are waiting to go home from school with a bus. That is, everything that is moving is potential energy. And then kinetic energy, that is the energy that is associated with movement. Now some examples of objects that have kinetic energy is a car, when you are rolling a ball, a person when you are walking or running, and also when a hammer strikes a nail into a piece of wood, the kinetic energy into the moving hammer is transferred into other forms of energy. So you must explain for me what energy, potential energy, and kinetic energy is all about. You must just don't use the examples of the book. Just think of any example. Just read through the examples, and you can also use your own examples. Then we get to the features of an ideal design and technology class. Now there are lots of things that you can write about that. So the first thing is you must arrange your students' desks for cooperative learning groups. That means you can have 5 groups or 3 groups in the class, depending on the amount of children you have in your class. And you must also make sure that there is moving space, so that the one group is not moving against the table of the other group. So according to a corporate learning classroom, it is for research. The desk must be placed in groups of 3 and 5, like I just explained now, so that there's enough moving space. And then you must also leave spaces between the groups to allow easy traffic, so that they don't, especially when they have things that they are working with, like experiments that they must do, that nothing will fall on the floor, or when they are using a machine, that the machine will not fall on the floor and will be damaged in the process. And you must also put the teacher's desk in a place that will serve well, so that you can see, does this group have a problem, or can I move or must I go help there, or whatever. And then you must also place the machinery that is in the lab, you must place them in a safe place, so that the children know, if I don't work with the machinery will stand on a table. Only when my teacher say I can work there, then I can do that. The next one, before I finish there, is I want you to also to go over how you will describe costs, how to describe the cost of a product, how you will accumulate that. Means how will you work it out that you can still make a profit from it. And then the next one I want you to do or look at I want you in the exams, I will also give you a lesson preparation of a grade 5 class. For instance, how will you teach them how to start a small business, and you will do it for 15 marks. On your paper it will say the aim. The aim means how you will prepare them to start a small business. The objective is you will empower the learners with the necessary knowledge and skills to start their own business. That is your objective. Now the introduction is you will discuss how to start their own business with the children. In order for any business to grow, you must put back some of the profit into the business. That is very important. That is something you must teach them all the time, which means whatever profit you make, you must put it back into the profit. Even if they are going to start a small business like selling popcorn or selling sweets in their neighborhood, they must know any profit must first go back into the business. You cannot just take every cent that you make and use it again. So that is not the introduction. It must just be short, and then the body of the lesson must be lengthy, so that the children can understand why the lesson is important. So number 1, you will teach them they must first identify an opportunity. Is there an opportunity in the neighborhood? If somebody is already selling sweets, then that business will not work. Then they must sell something else. Then they must find out where will they get the capital. Will they get it from their mom, or they get it or they have saving money? Where will they get the capital from to put the money in? And they must also find what kind of resource can they use? Will they sell chips? Will they sell popcorn? Will they sell ice or what? Something that is not being that nobody is selling in the neighborhood. And they must find a suitable location. Location means, will they do it in front of their house? Are they going to sell it at school? And if they sell it at school, the children knows they must have permission to do that. And then also, if they sell the goods or the profits, will they make a profit or are they going to make a loss? And then when the end of the lesson is says conclusion. Now the advantages is, number one, it prepares the children to become entrepreneurs for the future when they start small, at a young age. And it will teach the learners to be self-sufficient, where they don't have to ask their parents for money or financial support. And then the disadvantages is, if there's bad planning, like they are irresponsible or they are lazy, the business will not work. Or if they have a bad attitude when children said, no, your popcorn is not good or doesn't taste well, they must not get angry, because they must just improve in what the customers want. Then they will make a profit. And then they must also, what the disadvantages is, they must also start a business, and they must make sure that the business doesn't fail. Otherwise, it will give the child a negative way or negative behavior over businesses. Then for the advanced learners, that means learners that are now more advanced, or they are quickly in learning things, you must teach them simple steps of accounting. Accounting means, how much will my profit, if I put in $10, how much do I want to ask so that I can still make a profit? Because if I make a loss, then it's no use having the business. For the slow learners, you will teach them the 4 steps. For example, adding, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Remember, from grade 1, they do adding and subtraction already, plus and minus. Now, when they get to grade 5, they must already know all these steps of adding, subtraction, multiplication, and division, so that that can help them to see, I paid so much and I asked so much for my product. Will I really make a profit, or do I make a loss? And then for remedial work is mostly for children that are struggling. You can create an atmosphere of a shop, which means you can put a table there, then you tell the weak learners, I want you to bring all kinds of boxes. A cereal box, anything, any packet, even if it's an empty packet, whether your mommy took the sugar out, just bring it so that we can put a price on them. So that they, so that you can create this atmosphere of a shop in the class, where you make paper money, and they must cut it out, and somebody stands behind the counter, they sell, and some of the learners will buy things and others will sell things. And then they will also get that relationship of an owner who stand behind the counter or the till, and also customers. So, and then you must also remember, there's a lot of mathematics, but it's just simple mathematics. If you get an old book of grade 12, just go through the book, because it will help you also get an idea. But on your Kindles, there's also a lot of mathematics that you can also go through, which will prepare you for the exams, because you will have to work out mathematical problems. And because next year you will, if you are now in your second year, in your third year you will go to a school, a primary school, where you will teach design and technology for grades 5, 6, and 7. That is why I said a lesson plan is very important, so that you know how to write out a lesson, you know how to do an introduction, you know how to do the body, and you know how to do the conclusion. So when you go for practice teaching, that everything will not be new to you, that you have an idea of what to expect. And the other thing is, when you do practice teaching, I want you to ask the teacher, can I just sit for a week or two and just observe what are you doing? And when you write out your lesson plan, you take it to the teacher so that the teacher can see, are you going to whatever you want to achieve in the lesson? Do you have enough information? And also you must also practice in front of the mirror, and you must also let people keep time for you so that you stay well in your boundaries, especially when your lesson is 40 minutes. You must know how long you must spend on the introduction, how long must you spend on the body, so that you can give children a chance to ask questions, because from questions you can see if the children understood the lesson, or there's a misconception, some things they didn't understand, or the slow learners didn't get it, and you have to repeat your lesson maybe in the next lesson, where the teacher will allow you to do the lesson over. So, and you must also remember, when you give a lesson, the teacher must always evaluate you. And then also people from IOL will also come to evaluate you at your school about your lesson. So you must practice a lot. Even for the children at your house or your family members, just ask them, can one of you take my book? And you give them the lesson so that you can make sure that you know all the information, you have all the steps. And they will tell them, please don't laugh at me, be serious, because I must prepare this lesson and I must go to a school, and other children are going to listen to my lesson, and the teacher will also listen to my lesson, so that people can see you are really serious about teaching. So when you go out and the next day you present the lesson in the class, that you can also be confident because you practice a lot and you know your facts and you know what you want to do and you know the steps. And even if you don't know the steps very well, write it on a paper. Don't put your book on the table, just write it make short notes for yourself, write it on a paper, and just put the paper on the teacher's table while you are doing the lesson. Remember, you need also to make sure that that you don't go on and on and on and children lose interest. So you need to make sure that your introduction is catchy, or you can also make use of an icebreaker. Icebreaker is something like, if you are going to do a lesson about you are going to sell something or something, then you must bring something from outside, or you invite somebody, just to make your lesson interesting. But don't just start and talk and talk and talk and talk, and then children lose interest. Just ask questions in between so that you are keeping them on their toes, and you also keep yourself interested in the lesson, and everybody else who's listening, even the teacher, must say, wow, this is really a well-prepared lesson, so that you can determine if your lesson is good or not. So you must make sure that you know your facts very well. If you want to contact me, you can call me by my cell phone number. It's 081-644-2582, and you must always call me after school. You can call from 1 or 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock during weekdays, because in the evenings I'm going to classes. And if you want to find out something during the evening, just send me an SMS, and then when I get back, I will reply. But don't tell me don't send me an SMS saying, oh, I don't understand this, and the whole thing is just questions. And I know you did not even look at your book, you didn't even look at your Kindle, you did not even find out for yourself, you didn't even ask somebody to help you. So let me first see that you really make an effort before you send the SMS or you phone me. And then I I will pray for you so that that you can do well in your exams. And remember, whenever we do, this is your first year of designing technology, remember the chair and the table that you must practice for freehand. And I want you also to go, not just the handout that you get today, but you must also go through your assignment. Make sure that you know the facts, you know how to do the drawings, and let people just test you. Your husband, your friend, your mom, even your children can test you. Take your book so that your children can also say, oh, my mom really knows her work. Remember, when your family members are there for you and you have the support of your family members, you are halfway through the exam, because they will pray for you, they will encourage you, they will really make sure that you have what you need, the peace and quiet that you need, the hours that you need. And you need to get up early in the morning to go through your work, or you must wait until everybody is asleep before you study. So just make sure that everything is in place, and don't start a week before you must write exams. When you get your exam timetable, make sure that you work out a program so you go through all your subjects every day, even if it's just for 10 minutes, that you'll read something, you go through it, and then the next day you just follow up on that. But don't wait for the end. Don't wait for a day before. Ooh, you will panic and then you will not remember anything. So, and make sure that you also have a study buddy, somebody that keeps you accountable. Or if you are teaching at a school and 3 or 4 of you are doing the same subjects at IOL, just come together once or twice a week, once a week during the week, and then over the weekend, to make sure that other people can tell you if you don't understand something, or they can help you with a question, or maybe a teacher that has already, a qualified teacher that has a lot of experience can help you. So please make sure that you are up to date with your work, and don't wait for a week or 2, like I said. And that you also, in your group, let one person take the book and ask you questions so that you can see, is there anything that I don't understand? Do I understand it well? And then in your group you must also make don't just use don't just use the examples of the book. Listen to other people's examples. Maybe they have a good example that you can remember better for the exam. And then if you want to make drawings, make sure that you have a sharp pencil, eraser, make sure that you have a ruler. Please make sure that you have a ruler that you can underline the things, because I don't want to search through everything where your answers are. Just underline what do you want to write, important things, and make sure that you have a pencil, so when you get your question paper, that you can already jot things down on the margin, so that by the time that you get to the question, that you don't forget the important information, that you will just see, oh, I wrote that, oh yes, and then you will just recall the facts again. So make sure that you are well prepared. You have the necessary things, like don't just go with one pen, then all of a sudden the pen don't want to write, now you panic, and at the end you don't finish your work. And make sure that you check the question and how much marks it is, so that you know you don't have to sit with a question of 6 marks and you sit for half an hour, and then for the rest of the stuff there's nothing.